I-32 female snooped on my husband's 33 male phone and found out he is a bi. We have been married for 5 years. My husband has different message tones for all his closest friends. Over the last weeks, he has been texting a female friend. I think she got a text from her through the day and it was way above normal that I notice it. He has always been very protective of his phone. He always used to leave it unlocked, would lend it to me if I wanted to do a quick search, but he has been with his phone. He never locks his phone and he always takes it with him everywhere he goes. He had told me that at the start of their friendship, 12 years ago, he had feelings for her, but it was fleeting and they have a really strong friendship. I was feeling jealous and betrayed. I have been cheated on before and still, I'm a bit insecure about this. 2 days ago, he had left his phone unlocked. I opened his messenger and his last message was, "I'm a good at hiding it." I should have just left the phone at the table and minded my own business. But that text confirmed all my fears and I couldn't stop myself from opening it to read. I regret it. He wanted to come out but was scared. He was scared of my reaction. He was scared that I would not find him attractive anymore and that we would have to get a divorce. He thought it was not worth coming out. I came to my senses and I kept his phone back on the table. My head is spinning a little. What do I do now? Should I tell him that I know that it is okay? I feel terrible of hiding things from him. I want to apologize to him for snooping on his phone. I also feel a bit sad that he was more comfortable trusting her than trusting me, which is not very mature in my part. Would it better if I tell him? I want to do what would make him happy, but I can't just ask him that. Update. I did not expect so many responses and I was a bit confused on what to do. But I guess most people in the community was telling me to give him space to process it himself and come out on his own terms. I took the advice to be generally supportive of the LGBTQA community without being obvious about it. I also spent some time reading about bisexuality. I did post a story in June 1, but the best thing that happened was that his friend came out as bi herself. We follow each other on Instagram and she had made a post about it. I made a comment congratulating her and wishing her well. She did text me about a dinner and while we were chatting, she thanked me for my support and this wonderful woman gave me another opportunity to express my support and do it in more personal way than a comment. He came out to me about a week ago. He was very nervous and still scared, and all he wanted to do was tell him that I knew, but from what I have read, letting people do it in their own terms were really important. He told me nothing would change. He just wanted me to know, and he didn't want to hide a part of himself. It was okay. I told him nothing had changed. He was the perfect man for me, and I loved him no matter what. He did ask me later if I knew, and I came clean. I told him I saw, apologized for it, and cried a lot. He was upset but understanding. He even apologized for suddenly changing his behavior, which is bullshit as I should have dealt with it a lot more maturely. It just hit just right spot of insecurity for me. Things are fine. He is happier and we're getting back to our old routines.
From a bi woman monogamously married to a bi man, I also want to express my reassurance that this doesn't change the dynamic of a marriage. My husband and I both discovered that the other was bi after we married, and the knowledge has only positively impacted our relationship. It's been lovely joking about people we both find attractive, having the same celebrity crush, and just feeling more open expressing certain parts of our identities. I remember hearing something about attraction while being in a committed relationship. The relationship doesn't blind us to other people who we may find attractive, however we can admire a beautiful painting in a museum without wanting to fuck it. With this in mind, my husband and I can easily chat about things and people we find attractive, without feeling insecure about our relationship. My husband, as I think your husband did as well, married me because he loves the prospect of our future and family together. Attraction is just one small component of this. It can be harder for bi men in straight relationships because the homophobia around that is pretty high. There is a lot of toxic ideas about masculinity where society says that bi men are really gay, because no real man would even think about being with another man. I don't know if you saw that blind dating show, but there was a couple that was moving toward marriage, and the woman found out that the man had relations with men before, and she was disgusted and felt betrayed, to the extent she felt he did something vehemently evil to her, by not telling her on the first date. That comes from society telling people that being on a spectrum of sexuality that is not 101 direction is a betrayal to their partner. So for men who date women, it's particularly scary for that to come out, because the fear of stigma and someone leaving them is based in a very sad reality. I'm so glad that you showed him that your love for him is true, and that even with this knowledge, you are committed and are not disgusted by him. Not telling you directly may feel like a betrayal, but it is rooted in the realistic high probability that a straight partner would not just walk out, but would lose respect and develop animosity and hatred for the person who loves them. It took me almost 20 years to come out to my wife as pan. For guys bi/pan guys, there's always this fear that a cis female we're in a relationship will just think we're gay. A bi/pan guy in a committed relationship with a female is often no different than a straight guy in that same context. No matter how many different types of people he happens to be attracted to, he chose you, and a loyal guy is a loyal guy regardless of orientation. Hell, you could even look at it this way. As a bi guy, he has a lot more options than a straight guy and chose you anyway. You could choose to take that as a very high compliment. I am the bi partner in a monogamous straight relationship. I am so glad he came out to you. I've slowly been more and more open about being bi over time. I think Hubs has pretty much always known. We were friends long before we dated and he had gone with me to gay bars and such. The most important thing is to just continue being open and honest with each other. Make sure you are making time to communicate when you have questions or frustrations, instead of either of you hiding information or snooping on devices. Maybe take time to set a regular date night with no devices, just to talk. Being bi doesn't change the relationship, but lack of communication certainly can. I went back and read your original post, and I have to say I think you handled it well. Could you have just talked about it at the start instead of snooping? Yes, but we all make mistakes, especially when it comes to our insecurities. Also, you could benefit from seeing a therapist to talk about your past and help yourself trust your partner more. Parenthesis. Unsolicited advice, so ignore if you want. As the bi partner in a monogamous relationship with a straight person, one thing that has been extremely meaningful to me is not just being accepted by my partner after I came out, but being thoroughly seen and celebrated. My bisexuality isn't just something my partner tolerates, but actively accepts and celebrates. It is different for every relationship and every person, but when you are ready and it feels genuine, you could think of ways to support and celebrate your husband's bisexuality. I think it will go a long way. I'm happy for both of you. Wish you the best. When I started dating my first boyfriend, I was questioning of my sexual orientation. A few months later, I came out to him as bi. He was the most supportive guy ever, even helped me in coming out to my other friends and siblings. It feels great to be loved and accepted unconditionally. I'm sure your husband loves you a lot and is very thankful to have you. I mean, for me, dating a bi guy is number goals, so I'm so proud that you guys worked it out. After reading your title and the update, it makes sense these two closeted friends would suddenly have a lot to discuss. So glad you guys are happy. Also maybe consider the fun you guys can have role playing in your sex life now.